Hello, everyone. We are back with another weekly update, and that is where we discuss the most important news during the week, stock market news. So we're going to cover some of the companies that you may follow. We're going to chat about Discovery, Nampak, Sygnia, Renergen, Karooooo, formerly known as Cartrack, Tungela, and some US news at the end. And then after that, we'll announce the quiz winners for this week. Remember, all you have to do to win Cashly prizes every week is play the quiz. Play the quiz on the FinMeUp app. It's really fun, and build your streak, get yourself on the leaderboard. So first news is Discovery. This is just the director's dealings. So the CEO of Discovery sold 335,000 shares of a total value of just under 42 million rand. That's a big sell. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, well, as you can see, Adrian Gore isn't going to have any cash flow problems over Christmas time this year. But on a serious note, 42 million may sound like a lot, but for him, that's a drop in the bucket. It's such a small percentage of his net worth. So as a shareholder, I am a shareholder. This is not something I am too worried about.
And the thing about it is, there could be many reasons why a director could sell shares. Many reasons. But there's usually only one reason why they buy shares. So not necessarily bad news. Nampak, Nampak had a lot of news this week. So their revenue grew by 21%, trading profit grew by 13%, earnings per share fell by 28%, and the cash generated from operations is down 11%. But then there was news about, who said PSG and Standard Bank said they're buying more shares? What's that?
Yeah, PSG and Sanlam or Standard Bank, they took positions this week, both over 5%, which is quite a bit. So that's interesting. So for those of you who don't know, Nampak is a packaging company. Their share price has decreased by over 90% over the last 5 years, which is basically everything. 65% over the last year. So if these asset managers are now dipping their toes over 5% each, that is an interesting prospect. So the problem with Nampak is the following. They have operations in Africa. Quite a bit of their operations is in countries like Nigeria, Angola, not the most peaceful countries in the world. And the problem here is that they can't get the money out of those countries back into South Africa. There's certain laws prohibiting them to do that. In South Africa, they have a huge debt obligation. So now they need to get the money and then use the money to pay off the debt, but they can't get the money. So the plan as of now is to actually do a rights issue. And the rights issue is when you give existing shareholders the right to buy additional shares before you actually open it up to the rest of the public. The company's value at the moment, market value, is 900 million. They want to do a rights issue of 2 billion. So just think about that. If you're a shareholder, that you can't be happy about that. I mean, if you actually don't have any choice. Either you participate in the rights issue, or you don't, and then your share will be diluted by 60%. So I mean that's not looking good for them. But obviously PSG and Sanlam they see potential in this. So let's see if that deal's actually pans out.
Is it Sanlam or Standard Bank?
I think it's Standard Bank. It's Standard Bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then Sygnia. We all love their ETFs. I own plenty of their ETFs. It's in my tax-free savings. It's even in my normal investments. So their assets under management fell by 3.8%. Not a massive surprise. I mean, we know what happened in the markets the past year. It's not been pretty, especially in the US markets, and we all know them for their S&P 500 ETF, their fourth industrial ETF, and all those ETFs. So not a massive surprise. It is an asset manager. It's always going to be there. Their revenue grew by 9.7%. So the AUM fell, but the revenue grew. The profit after tax grew by 19.3%. Airlines earnings per share grew by 12.1%. And then the dividend. I mean, that's a juicy dividend. That's more than 10% yield. If you look at the share price. What do you think of these results?
Yeah, I'm obviously a financial advisor, so I actually use Sygnia. I flip between Sygnia and Alan Gray for various purposes. Let's quickly discuss the AUM. So, of course, the AUM is probably the most important metric if you're an asset manager. That's the one thing that you want to increase. but it's not money coming in, it's the value of the money under management. And of course, in a recession, that will drop regardless if people are actually, investing more. It unfortunately, if we are a recession, so Coronation, Old Mutual, all of these companies that recently posted results, all of their AUMs are down. Then in terms of Sygnia, so they're known for their passive funds, of course, the ETFs. And what I like about this, especially for younger investors, is it's cheaper. So over time, even 0.5, 0.6, 1% per year in terms of fees will make a massive difference over time. So I think Sygnia and Satrix are the big passive players in the market. It depends on what your vibe is, but I think this is bullish for Sygnia, and I'm a fan of Sygnia for sure.
Yeah, it's a steady company. It's probably going to be a gradual grower. Dividend, that dividend is great. I mean, you made more through that dividend this year than in any fixed deposit, or that I'm aware of. So solid company. It's not going to shoot the lights out, but it could be a long-term, good dividend payer, gradual growth. Renergen, so this is a bit more exciting than Sygnia. Renergen announced that South Africa's first domestically produced LNG has been delivered. So we know with Renergen, it was an exploration company. It's now past that phase. They are now actually delivering what they promised, and that is LNG. And it's still very, very early for them. It is an exciting phase. The market wants, especially in this environment, the market wants execution. They want to see that you deliver on your promises, and this is the first step in that. And we know that there's been delays, but now it's here. So let's hope for Renergen that they can continuously execute on this. They've got partnerships. The demand is there. They just need to supply now. Any comments?
Yeah, I'm super glad for Stefano and the team. Just shortly, shareholders, it's been known in recent times that shareholders are getting a little bit impatient because there's all of these big promises and we're not seeing anything happening. And now finally, this is definitely, a tick of the box. And of course, just remember, LNG is not the main prospect for Renergen. It's of course helium. So, but still, great news here.
Yeah. So then Karooooo. This is a company that I own, previously known as CarTrack. You might use their services for your car. I love this company. It's one of my largest holdings. They are just executing quarter after quarter, growing the dividend, growing the earnings, growing the revenue, growing the footprint. There's a lot of potential in Southeast Asia. There's growth in South Africa. They collect so many data points. It's easy for them to upsell and cross-sell their products. So they just gave a business update, not a financial update. So the business update is that their CarTrack subscribers for the quarter grew 14% year over year, and the net additions grew by 27%. So the net additions is just there was a 27% new additions, but obviously there was some drop off with clients. So their overall subscribers grew by 14%, still excellent. This is recurring revenue. This is an international company. The share price is very stagnant, and that, in my opinion, I'm happy as a shareholder, and I've actually been adding more to my position. Not advice, it's just what I'm doing. Then looking at Thungela. Thungela made a lot of people a lot of money in the last year and a half. Their earnings per share is expected to be at least 125 Rand, representing an increase of 105%. Due to the Transnet freight rail performance and illegal mining activity and power interruption, Thungela lost approximately 600 KT of export sellable production. The demand in Europe is expected to remain firm into 2023. So there's demand, but there's problems. But they are showing a lot of increase in earnings per share. You know Tungela better than I do, Paul. What's your only take? I know not one of us really follow them. We didn't participate in the massive gains, but any thoughts?
Yeah, it's the one I missed this year, unfortunately. In a recession, you want your winners. Obviously, we had Santova, which did so well for us. But Tungela is the one I missed, and it made a lot of people a lot of money. I would be a little bit cautious just because the stock has all the momentum going for it already. We can't continue like this forever, so I'll just be cautious. But in terms of what the company is and all of that, we've covered it quite extensively on the app. So for those of you watching, just go on the app. There's probably about 5 different stock picks from different from different mentors on the app.
Awesome. So now getting to the US, just some quick news. Adobe is planning to sell AI-made stock images. That's really cool for all the marketers out there. Uber and Motional just announced the launch of their public robo-taxi service in Las Vegas. Apple has unveiled a new feature for Apple Music. They call it Apple Music Sing, that allows users to sing along to their favorite songs with adjustable vocals and real-time lyrics. So for the karaoke lovers, Apple has released that. And, you know, Apple Music, they're struggling to keep up with Spotify. Spotify is amazing. I still use Apple Music, but I have friends who use Spotify, and Spotify is so much better. And as a musician, you know, Spotify gives you just so much more tools than Apple Music. So good to see some innovation there. Apple also delayed the launch of their self-driving cars until 2026. So that's going to be interesting. Nvidia and Deutsche Bank, I don't know how to pronounce it, Deutsche Bank, have announced a partnership to accelerate the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the financial services sector, which is awesome. I mean, that's where we are. Nvidia, exceptional company, great at innovating, an amazing CEO. Elon Musk, we've got more news on Elon Musk. Every week there's news about Elon Musk. But Elon Musk is no longer the world's richest person after Bernard Arnold and family dethroned him. Deere, so John Deere, we discussed John Deere last week, so if you want to check that weekly update, or stock picks on the FinMeUp app about John Deere. I own John Deere. I've done a stock pick on that. They declared a quarterly dividend of $1.20 per share, and that's up from $1.13 per share. So there's some news for you. ExxonMobil, there's a last one. ExxonMobil expanded its share buyback program up to $15 billion through to 2024. So they're going to buy back a lot of shares. So that's the news for this week. This is what's happening every week. This won't happen over Christmas, as there won't probably be any news then as well. But, you know, last week is the last one of this. So enjoy it. January will be back, but there's one more coming up this week. And the quiz winners for this week are